Hey, welcome everybody. It's good to be back with you again today. We are here with Steve Martin from Love for His People, and just wanted to talk a little bit about what's going on with Steve and what's upcoming and what's the Lord showing you. And I think we got a lot of things going on here today, Steve.
Yes, we do. As you can see, we're in a new location this morning, this afternoon, evening, wherever you're at. This used to be a garage, and when that door behind me buckled up as I was lifting it, because I did not change out the rails, I was not going to put another $2,000 in it. I told my wife, this is it, we're closing it in. We put down some carpet, brought in some shelving. We have a couch over here, and this is now the new, well, it's been this way for 15 years now.
15 years, okay.
When I came back from Israel, it was in 2010. The Lord had told me, either way, I got the message. He said that you need to take down the idols in this place.
Yeah.
Because if you were to look around, you would see NASCAR all over, on the ceiling, on the walls. Jeff Gordon, he was the driver, still is. And the Lord said it was an idol, so I took down the paper I had on the wall, and underneath some of it was concerts from Christian singers. There was a Billy Graham when he was up at the Bank of America Stadium. It was called Erickson Stadium at the time. It was the first event in that Carolina Panthers football team location. And underneath that was the Billy Graham poster that I have on the wall of his first event there. And so this has become a place where I generally come in the morning.
And pray here?
I do pray here.
Okay.
I bring in my Bible. It's not air conditioned. It's not cooled or heated. So it's not every day of the year I come in here.
Right, yeah.
But during this spring and summertime, it's been okay. I generally am comfortable. But this morning I came in here.
Yeah.
And after my prayer time and doing some uploads to the website, the Lord said, look across the room at the Africa, which is right behind David here. I have an Africa shelf. I've been wanting to be a missionary to Africa since I was 10 years old. And I'm almost 68, that was 58 years ago. And I thought, well, okay, if it happens, it happens. I've basically given away that thought.
Had you ever had the opportunity during your work with the other ministries to go to Africa?
Yeah. In fact, I worked with Mahesh Chavda. He would go to Africa every year. I believe it was about 10 years in a row. He'd go for 4 to 6 weeks.
Yep.
My good friend Art Mackey, you know Art.
Yep.
He would go with him. And my time was going to come. I kept asking Mahesh, when am I going to come? When am I going to go? And he said, well, you can come in 1994. Well, in 1994, Civil War broke out in what is now the African Democratic Republic of the Congo, which at that time was Zaire.
And that's where he was going.
He was, but he's never been back. And so that kind of ended that hope.
Yeah.
And then we had been invited on a worship team, my wife and I, to go to Zimbabwe. This was probably in 2003, 2004. That trip was canceled. I said, okay. You just let those promises, those desires kind of die down.
But that's the kind of the thing. Sometimes the desires of your heart, the Lord brings you back around to those.
He does.
And I've experienced that in my life. Maybe some of you don't know, but I'm an ex-stock car racer, so Jeff Gordon and all those guys are quite familiar to me. I grew up racing stock cars in northern Michigan and pitting with guys and living that kind of rough and tumble lifestyle. But, the Lord was, He knows that's a love of my heart.
Sure.
And so I quit it for a season, and then he gave it back to me, and that was actually how I ended up here in the Carolinas. Is he brought me down to work for a company selling race car parts to NASCAR. So 11 and a half years he provided green pastures through that. So
The Lord gives us these desires.
He does.
It's
He
not
does.
something that we
He
dream
does.
up. He's the one who puts those desires in our hearts, in your heart, and then He shows Himself faithful by bringing them to pass, even if it takes 10, 15, 58 years.
Right. So
But this morning I was sitting over there, and I noticed this Coca-Cola can. Now, when those came out, 2009, 2010, actually, it says on here, Beijing 2008. I had collected a few of them, and this one was, I knew it was from Africa because of the name on the side, but I had forgotten about it. I stuck it up here, and this was 15 years ago now.
Yep.
2008, 2022, you do the math.
So it says Ethiopia on
It does
here.
say
So I'm guessing this is Amharic.
yes, I would
Okay.
think so.
So
Kokeb would know.
so how? Yeah. Well, that's the connection, isn't it?
Yes, when here's how the story began with this. I'd given that desire to go to Africa. I'd let it go. In the meantime, Lord connected my heart to Israel. This was 1987. Lori and I went to a conference in Mackinac Island, your neck of the woods,
Yeah.
in Michigan.
What year was that?
1987.
87. Okay. Well, I was out of high
Actually,
school.
no, it was 1978.
78. Well,
Correct,
I'd
yeah.
have been in middle school back then.
There's a 15-year difference here, but hey, Lord joined us together. So we went up there, and Derek Prince was speaking, and he was talking about our debt to Israel, which that planted the seed in my heart. As a Christian believer, I needed to help pay the debt that we owed to the Jews.
Yes.
They gave us the Bible, they gave us the prophets, most of all, they gave us Yeshua, Jesus,
Yes.
our Messiah.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So at that time, my heart turned towards Israel to do what I could, and working with Mahesh Chavda, and then later both of them again, Derek Prince and Mahesh. That fire kind of kindled. It didn't go away totally, but again, back to this morning, I was sitting over in that chair, and the Holy Spirit said, "Well, go look at that can." So I got up. This is about 6 o'clock this morning. And I looked at the can, and on the side of it, it said Ethiopia. Well, I got excited. The reason I did, because in 2018, you went to Jerusalem, and you met who?
I met Rabbi Kokeb,
Who is?
an Ethiopian Messianic rabbi that had a congregation in Jerusalem.
Yes, he did.
Yep. And so, with meeting Rabbi Kokeb, it set things in motion for us to help through strength for Israel, but also love for his people, to help Kokeb do the ministry there. And the Ethiopian people are special. You know, there's a land in the Bible called Cush, and Cush is mentioned more than any other country, and it's 54 times in the Bible that the Cushites are mentioned. So the Cushites are the Ethiopian people, and the Ethiopian people there's a good segment of their country is Jewish. And at one point, Israel went in when there was war there, and they brought out in a day thousands of Ethiopians. And there's still about 25,000 Ethiopian Jewish people left there.
Okay.
So now Steve is going to go with the rest of the story, I think. But you can see where this is. Yeah, well, you remember him, don't you? You remember the rest of the story.
So David comes back from Jerusalem in 2018, tells me about Kokeb. I go back in May of 2019, meet Kokeb purposely.
Yep.
Had time with him. Went to the Shabbat meeting on that Saturday morning, and this thought came back. Well, he's from Africa, in Jerusalem. I'm from America, in Jerusalem, wanting to someday go to Africa. I didn't say anything at that time. Speed it up to April 2022.
Just a couple of months ago.
Yeah. We again had time with Kokeb. He took us up to Haifa and Tiberias. He had a one-day trip. Came back home, and my wife and I had promised our grandson Jack we'd take him to the zoo, Asborough Zoo here in North Carolina. They have two sections. They have an African section, and I think it's the South American or anyway, another section. And on the ground, on the walkway, is a word. It was an image of, it said Africa. So I stuck my feet on it, and I said, Lord, I'm still going to Africa, and I'm putting my feet right here on this emblem, this logo, to say I'm going to Africa. Well, he said, then call CoCab. So I did. I sent CoCab a WhatsApp. That's a very popular app. And I said, hey, CoCab, when are you going to Africa, Ethiopia? And within 15 minutes or so, he says, well, probably in October. You want to come? I said, sure, I want to come. So I asked my wife, can I go to Africa in October? And she goes, well, as long as it's after October 8th, because that's our 45th wedding anniversary.
All right.
I gave CoCab a WhatsApp back, and I said, okay, I can come as long as it's after October 8th. So we're going to be booking the flight here in June. But again, coming back to this Coca-Cola can, God bless Coca-Cola. May they walk in your ways. I got up and I looked at it, and here it said Ethiopia. Just another sign of the Lord confirming what he had promised. And it sat on my shelf for 15 years.
Well, he doesn't let the desires of our heart fall. And I think that that's an important message to everybody that's out there that's watching this or sees this, that, you know, the Lord brings us into spacious places. He gives us the desires of his heart, and his lot for us is that we would see his goodness in the land of the living. And King David verbalized that in the Psalms, is that, Lord, we need to see your goodness. We need to see what you're doing. And I'm excited for you, Steve, to go to Ethiopia. Yeah. I don't feel that I'm called to Ethiopia, but a man after many years, still following the Lord.
I was thinking it'd be Kenya. I want to go to Kenya.
You want to go to Kenya? Well, you never know.
You never know.
There might be something that happens there.
That's right.
But you know, the Lord's good, and if he tarries, you know, everything is going to work out for you there.
And I think the key here, which I want to just share with you guys, is that Israel is the key.
Oh, yes.
Israel, how many times in the Bible does it mention Israel and the Lord bringing back his people to the land after they had been dispersed? And CoCab, he was one of those who made Aliyah from Ethiopia. He and his wife came back to the promised land, basically, from Ethiopia when he was younger, and got established there. He's a Messianic rabbi. And it was through that connection in Jerusalem that I'm now going to be going to Africa in October. The Lord does it.
He does. And he puts things together, and he works all things for the good of those who loved him and are called according to his purpose.
We didn't practice that, did we?
No, we didn't. Shalom, everybody. Have a blessed day. We just wanted to share this update with you. We'll see you later on.
And be watching for the next one.